What is really the fear of the Almighty? What is the fear of heaven? The fear of heaven in simple terms is this. You're about to do something, whatever it is, business, intimacy, whatever it is, food. But before you do it, am I allowed to do it or not? Before you, not after you do it. Before you do anything in your life, am I allowed to do it or not? What does Hashem think about what I'm about to do? What does Hashem think about what I want to do? That's Yirat Shamayim. That is fear of the Almighty. That question, that second before you do something, that's Yirat Shamayim. If you don't find yourself asking ever, then you should be able to understand, hopefully, that Yirat Shamayim and you are not such good friends. You have to work on that. Asking whether something is allowed or not allowed before you do it, that's Yirat Shamayim. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to be, Rabotai. And the subjugating yourself to the law, the higher level of Yirat Shamayim, is that regardless of what the answer is, you're going to do it. Meaning that once you find out that you're not allowed to do it, or that you have to do it, and it's not really what you wanted to do, you're going to do it anyway. You're going to do it anyway. In the old days, Rabotai, and even today, some of the big Rabbanim would give somebody a smicha without giving them a test. Because really, for all intents and purposes, the whole test of giving a rabbinical smicha was not really based on a test. This is a new thing, new invention, quite frankly, over the last few generations. The way that you were given a smicha was based on whether you had knowledge of the subject at hand, and even more importantly, whether you had Yirat Shamayim. Whether you had Yirat Shamayim. The book, which is an extraordinary story, life story of Rabbi Yitzchak Zilber, known as To Remain a Jew. He says that he got a smicha from one of the Gdolei Ador. How? He went, he met him, got a blessing, and he was about to leave. Oh, hold on a second. Took a paper, is a smicha. You're officially a rabbi. Why? Why? You didn't pass a test. You didn't do nothing. No. You did everything. Why? I know you have understanding of the knowledge, but even more so, that you have Yirat Shamayim, that you have fear of the Almighty, that you will ask a rabbi in case you don't know the answer. If you don't know the answer, you have enough Yirat Shamayim, you have enough fear of the Almighty, that you're not just going to shoot from the hip and hopefully you're right. If you're one of those people that answers all the time without double checking, you have no Yirat Shamayim whatsoever. If I know that you're going to ask, and you are more than happy to ask, and in fact, you will not answer unless you know the answer, you have Yirat Shamayim. You get a smicha. And I've seen it with my own eyes. How? Rabbanim that have Yirat Shamayim are a world apart from people that don't have Yirat Shamayim. And even if both of them have a smicha, you'll see that one of them has a smicha, a rabbinical smicha, with no Yirat Shamayim, and one of them has a smicha with Yirat Shamayim. And you'll see that in both cases, the students they have, the people they lead, the influence they have has a world of difference. The one with no Yirat Shamayim has a whole class of heretics that remain heretics and grow and become more heretics. Whereas the one that has Yirat Shamayim grows an entire group, community of tzaddikim. Why? Your students are going to replicate you. Your students are a reflection of you. That's just the reality. And that's one of the things that the big Talmidei Chachamim, the big Rabbanim that are able to give a smicha, they know. But sometimes you'll have some people say, listen, I'm a rabbi, I'll just give a smicha to all my friends. This is also a destruction of justice because they're, again, working off of their emotions. They figure, listen, their buddy needs a smicha because maybe he'll get a job, maybe he'll be more respected, and so on and so forth. And they give him a smicha just because he's their buddy. They don't know if he has Yirat Shamayim or he doesn't, or they don't really care because they themselves don't. And then you have a destruction of justice. So subjugating yourself to the law is a multifaceted principle that applies to the rabbinical world, to the average Jew, and even to the Noahide, where a Noahide that wants to be a righteous Noahide wants to serve Hashem, wants to learn Torah, wants to do all of the good things, but one day finds out that he or she is not allowed to observe Shabbat like a Jew. If the Noahide wants to really do what God says, they will immediately accept this psak halacha from the rabbis, from the Rambam, among many others, and not observe Shabbat like a Jew, because he's not a Jew, she's not a Jew. They may decide to not work that day because they feel like having a day off. They may decide to have a nice barbecue meal. They may decide to do a lot of things, but they're not going to observe Shabbat like a Jew because they don't want to become a Jew. They want to remain a Noahide. Or they're going to say, no, I love Shabbat. I've been observing Shabbat my whole life, unknowingly, but now that I'm already used to it, I'm going to stay doing it. A person like that is not serving Hashem. They're serving themselves. They're serving themselves, Rabotai, and they're doing things because it fits their agenda. Because they're not willing to subjugate themselves to the halacha. They're only willing to subjugate themselves to whatever meets their desires. And unfortunately, many times you'll see that some of those people become very problematic, so much so they start teaching the masses Torah as if they're Jewish. And this, unfortunately, is much more apparent today in the internet world, where you have people with a little bit of a beard and a kippah. Everybody looks Jewish. Everybody looks Jewish. And I've seen it many times. Some people have the masses think that they're Jewish, teach Jewish books as if they're Jewish, talk like they're Jewish, act like they're Jewish, but in reality, completely not Jewish. 2 seconds after that lecture is done, they go back to their non-Jewish world, sometimes even go to church with their wife because their wife still believes in Yoshke. Sometimes they'll go to all types of places that Jews are not allowed to be in. And it looks like a Jew is desecrating the Torah, and they get themselves into very, very serious trouble. Why? Because they're not really willing to subjugate themselves to the law. They're just looking to use the law to fit their own agenda. This is a very, very serious problem, but nonetheless, this is for Hashem to solve. There's not much that we can do about it, but it is something that you've probably have seen, and it is probably something that you've probably heard. Now, the second thing that Rabbi Yisrael Misalan says is the recognition that the halacha is the basis of servitude of Hashem. This is one of those statements that to understand it is to understand the entire Torah. Why? Because if a person thinks that he can serve Hashem in any other way other than following halacha, that person is an apikoros. And unfortunately, today there are many people that think that. Many people that think they can serve Hashem without following halacha. They'll tell you, listen, I love Hashem my way. You love Hashem your way. You want to follow all these laws. You want to keep all these laws. You want to keep Shabbat. I don't keep Shabbat, but I love Hashem just as much as you do. And unfortunately, you'll find many people saying the same exact stupid thing and believe it 100%. Believe it 100%. Such a person, unfortunately, will get punished very severely because of their distortion of justice and their distortion of the Torah itself, no different than how the generation of Sodom and Gomorrah distorted justice.